Hello and welcome to Pixel Pirates Reviews, where I review the good, the bad, and the downright horrible. Today, you join me for another exciting episode of Tolkien Tuesdays, where we are going to be reviewing the third episode in the Rings of Power. So let us get into this. Before I do want to say there will be spoilers for this episode in this review, so you have been warned. We first open on Erondil, which is the name of the elf that we've been following through the tunnels and stuff. We open to him being dragged by orcs to their camp. And while he's disoriented, a orc chants for Adar, which I have read about. I've looked stuff up beforehand. Adar, everybody seems to think is a dark elf. I think that might be it, but based on his semi-review at the end of this episode, I actually think that Adar is the elf who is Sauron in disguise, who tricks Celebrimbor into making the rings. So we shall see if that is actually the case. But yeah. Erondil finds himself among other elves, and they look around the camp to try and find a way to escape. Now, on the opposite side of the world, we cut to Galadriel and Halbrand, who are resting in a bunk on the Númenórean vessel, which, when they wake up, the captain greets them and welcomes them to Númenor. Halbrand is amazed. Galadriel, not so much, but she begins to tell the tale of the Númenóreans to Halbrand. Apparently the Númenóreans helped them in their fight against Morgoth. So the Valar, blessed them with long life. So, and the elves, and then were friends for a while. Then the Númenóreans broke contact. They're taken before the Queen Regent of the area, and Galadriel demands that they be put on a boat to be sailed towards Middle Earth. That's not a right way to talk to royalty. So the situation gets heated. Halbrand, luckily enough, was actually able to diffuse the situation and give them 3 days of hospitality. But the only requirement was for Galadriel to stay in the palace. Of course, that doesn't happen. Galadriel escapes. Where actually we find out the captain's name. Elendil, son, king of Númenor, father to Isildur. You know, the first ring bearer. Which I find is really interesting that they are announcing them this close. Or this early on. I would have thought they would have waited until later on a bit. But that's an interesting choice. Speaking of Isildur, we cut to Isildur on a boat, kind of close to Middle Earth, but kind of not, where the One Ring speaks to him. Now, let me just stop all of y'all there. That is a huge continuity issue. So, for those of y'all who have read the books, and for those of y'all who have not, I am going to be explaining it. So if y'all don't want any boring explanations, go ahead and skip forward to the time on the screen now, and we will get on to the rest of the review. So, now that's out of the way, for a bit of the history lesson. So, in the books, right? Sauron tricks Celebrimbor, the greatest of all elven smiths, to make the 9 rings. Whilst Celebrimbor is making the 9 rings, Sauron makes his own 1 ring to rule them all, right? But at this point in the story, Celebrimbor has not even started on the forge yet that he would use to forge the 9 rings of power. So therefore, Sauron cannot forge his 1 ring. And plus, it would not be calling to Isildur anyway, because it does not know Isildur exists. Because Sauron does not know Isildur exists. So, by that fact, they got all of that wrong. Now, I know that they said that they were going to be having it to be loosely based off of, but in its own canon, sort of way. But come on. At least be consistent with that. Come on. That's just gonna anger us fans even more. Anyways, long rant over. Elendil is made to be the guardian of Galadriel as a kind of a punishment for bringing the elves there, because they are not welcome in Numenor. Ow. Why does that keep happening? Ugh. Nobody quite knows where or why the elves are not wanted, but it came with the Queen Regent's grandfather, which is interesting. I know that the Numenorians were crucial in the last-ditch effort against Sauron at the end of the Second Age, aka the start of the Fellowship, right? So, that's very interesting. Nori Halffoot is still helping out the stranger. Her father's ankle is still broken. They are afraid that they will be left behind. So during the celebration, Nori gets her friend's help to grab the star chart from the Elder, so they can pinpoint where exactly the stranger is from, right? Well, they almost get caught, and ultimately what gives them away is the stranger himself, unexpectedly. He grabs the paper, accidentally sets it on fire, and, well, calls Nori's name. So that cat's out of the bag. The Elder makes an exception to where Nori and her family will not be cast out of the caravan. But she is going to be put on closer watch, right? So that was interesting. We learn that Isildur does not really want to be a seaman. He really wants to be an explorer. So that's interesting. His father does everything he can to make Isildur a wayfarer, a seaman. I don't know what they're called exactly, but or sailors. I'll just say sailor. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. The soundtrack was amazing. I especially liked the soundtrack of Numenor. I mean, that was just so majestic and regal. It reminded me a whole lot of the Gondor ambience and Rohan and everything else. Now, that is only second to my favorite one, the Khazad-dûm, which, as you can see, I'm obsessed with dwarves. So, but yeah. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this type of content, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to be notified when I upload a new video. And yeah, I'll see you all next time. For tomorrow, as of when this video is going up, we shall be reviewing Andor, a Star Wars series. I don't know if that's actually what it's going to be called. But we shall soon see. Now, I do want to warn y'all that review, since the series is coming out on Otherworldly Wednesday, that is going to be up at night. So keep a lookout for that. If it's not up at the regular time, which it probably won't be, just check around at like 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But yeah, see you guys.